Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations because we're breaking away from the one we're in now. You've tuned in to a live tarot throw. Today is the first day of February 2026. I have your tarotlogical forecast for the upcoming week standing by. And in about a half an hour, we're going to do tarot for the audience. So if you're catching this program live and you're in the chat, please check my messages. You can request a reading. We'll be looking for tarot reading requests in about 25 or 30 minutes. And then between the tarotlogical forecast and tarot for the audience, I'll be sharing some thoughts about the victory timeline of consciousness. All right, does that sound like fun already? Awesome. Happy February, everybody. Let's not wait any longer. Let's go to the tarot cam. So, everybody, I don't want to forget, and before we get started, I think I'd like to share which decks are in play today, in case there's anybody new and they want to see what decks that they can request. Well, I have the Ethereal Bloom standing by. That's the deck with the flowers. All the images are festooned with flora. There we go. Beautiful card. Okay. I have the classic Rider-Waite images here on the classic tarot. That's this card. And this card is the one that has all the words on it. And if you're learning tarot, this is a good one to have because you learn tarot in a hurry with this classic deck. Speaking of classic decks, I have the Robin Wood Tarot deck. That's this one right here. And this deck and this deck, they've both been pre-shuffled before I turn on the camera to save time. And speaking of this deck over here, this is, I'm not allowed to show you what that card is yet. This is the 88 Gemstones. It's a gold foil on black card. You'll get a chance to see that imagery in a moment. But again, that's 88 Gemstones. Even the box is tough to see if you don't hold it to the light properly. There we go. All right. Then I have another Rider-Waite. This is the dark foil. It's a foil card, rich with color. Okay. And then there's the light version of it right over here. Okay. A little bit lighter imagery on the back and on the front. Still striking and colorful. I want to apologize to YouTube. All right. Anyway, this is the Lost Soul Tarot and another gold foil on black card. Very different imagery. That's the world card there. All right. Look at that little rainbow shine on Lost Soul Tarot. Dig it. I have the Stained Glass Tarot. I have one called the Neon Tarot. I have one called the Old Style Tarot, very popular, and the Mermaid Tarot. So I just want to show you which decks are available. Now we're going to get started with the tarotlogical forecast. Whoops. Here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw 5 pairs of cards to give us a little vignette for each day of the work week coming up for you this week of February 2nd. Okay. Tomorrow is the 2nd. Tomorrow is Monday. And then I'm going to pull one card from the 88 Gemstones, the top card, to give us a general theme or perspective through which we can view these little vignettes. So with all that said, again, the decks have been pre-shuffled. Before we turn on the camera, let's check out the tarotlogical forecast, shall we? The top card goes to Monday. The bottom card goes to Friday. And then we're going to fill in with fanning like this and cutting like this. Yeah, I think I will go from the outside in here. Here we go. We're looking for fun, inspiring messages for all the viewers of STARCARD Podcast. No matter what day or time you're tuning into this, it's probably going to be a recording when you see it. The tarot world wanted you to see these messages. These messages are for you. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so now we have our 5 pairs for each of the 5 days of the week. And now let's go to the 88 Gemstones. Pull this top card. Again, the deck's been pre-shuffled. Let me adjust the light a little bit, everybody. All right, I'm almost there. Hang on. Oh, that works for me. All right, so here we go. Let's pull this card. Here's what we're going to keep in mind as we look at the work week. Wow. Hey, welcome to StarCard Podcast, everybody. I'm always bragging about the magic that happens here. So the top card was the Hangman. And the Hangman says, take a look at things in a different way, right? Take a look at things in a different way. You might as well, why have a run-of-the-mill every week kind of week, okay? Let's look at things differently and let's make an upgrade. I feel like an upgrade. How about you? So let's set this over here. I'm going to move this deck over to here. There we go. All right. So the Hangman, huh? All right. Let's all keep that in mind. We're going to look at things differently. Let's see what happens on Monday. Yay. Look at how we're starting off the week. We're the King of Pentacles and we're the Three of Wands. The King of Pentacles, he's well rested. He's recharged. He has dominion over all of his affairs. Everything's in order. Not only that, not just spiritually, but here in the real world. I mean, stroll into the office on Monday like the King of Pentacles, okay? You should feel confident because on the inside, that's who you are. And then you have the Three of Wands card. And the Three of Wands card talks about expansion. And today I'm going to talk about expansion of the mind, expansion of consciousness. Also, the Three of Wands tells me, Breakaway Ray, that luck is where preparation meets opportunity. It reminds me of something I mentioned in a previous StarCard podcast. You know what? If you look for problems, you're probably going to find them. But if you look for solutions and you're keeping an eye out for solutions and ways to have fun, okay, you're probably going to find that. All right. Nice. Yeah. Look at things differently. You're to use a colloquialism, okay, you're the man. Whether you're male or female, you're the man. You're going into work and you're going to survey the situation and make things happen this week. Still not happy about the light there. All right, I'll go with, no, not quite. All right, let's keep going, everybody. It's Tuesday now. Yay. Wow. Check it out. You have the Chariot card and you have the Empress card. Now, the Chariot card indicates movement and going forward, progressing. It could be by big steps or small steps, but for sure, even by small steps, things are still moving forward. And you've got the power of the Empress with you because you're not a two-dimensional person. You're not a minor character in some kind of sitcom where everyone can predict what you're going to say and how you're going to leave the scene. You're the Empress. Whether you're male or female, you're a real person. Do you have feelings? Yes. Do you have plans and dreams? Yes. Can you love people? Yes. You can do all those things. But you know what? If you're at the office, that's not the place for it, right? Okay, you're there to do business. We're going to keep things going. So don't lose sight of the fact that you really are a real person. Sometimes around the office, you may feel a little inhumane. Is it possible that someone treated you in an inhumane way? I forgive them. I hope you do too. I mean, obviously, if they knew better, they wouldn't have done that, right? Okay, so keep it going on Tuesday, everybody. Again, the Empress, you're in charge. You know what? Before I continue, let's read about the Empress. And I have here from the Ethereal Bloom deck, this tarot guidebook. And this book, like the Robin Wood book, gives quick little snapshots of each card. Let's read about the Empress from this book this time. The Empress, love, fertility, creativity. The Empress rests in a rich forest surrounded by Mother Earth. The symbol of Venus sits at her side, showing her connection to love and fertility. Her crown of 12 stars represents the signs of the zodiac. Connect with your nurturing femininity and enjoy the beauty of life. You may also be experiencing a burst of creativity. And here's what it says about career, everybody. Your career may beat a high point. I'm going to repeat that. Your career may beat a high point. I don't know what that means, everyone. I suppose it means that you're at the top of your game. You have a high vibration and everyone recognizes your high vibration. And then if you're tuning in to StarCard Podcast, you probably already realize that when you have a high vibration, People with low vibrations don't dig it so much. Anyway, on with the career message. Your career may beat a high point. This could also mean a strong mentor in the workplace. That person could be you. Yeah. Is someone going to overreact about a certain situation? Show them how it's done. Be cool. Show them that balance. All right. Let's go to Wednesday, everybody. Yay. Wow. So we have the Hermit and the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups reminds me of being at Grandma's house for the holidays. And the Hermit talks about finding meaning and soul searching. Well, if this happens on Wednesday, maybe we're all looking for the end of the week and going to the weekend. But, with the the Queen of Cups, I believe the Queen of Cups actually becomes the Empress in the story of the tarot. With the Queen of Cups there, again, you're still sitting pretty like the Empress. Let's put her down here. Let's read about the Queen of Cups. By the way, everybody, look at how we're progressing here. Our 3D physical body, we're rich, we're looking good, we're feeling good, we're strolling into the office. Our mind is off in the future, ready to solve problems. On Tuesday, we go into the office, again, looking good, feeling good, able to balance things emotionally. When work gets challenging and you keep things going, okay, you have a mental plan. You've already worked on this. You know which direction you're going, millimeter by millimeter. Again, Wednesday, you stroll into the office. Now you're the Queen of Cups. And then while you're the Queen of Cups, off you go, astral traveling, looking for meaning. Let's read about the Queen of Cups now. The Queen of Cups. Beg your pardon, I got the wrong page. The Queen of Cups. Compassion, nurturing, kindness. Compassion, nurturing, and kindness. The other day I mentioned that a New York City police chief encouraged his officers to kill him with kindness, quote unquote. He was turning it into a joke. Treat everyone with courtesy, okay? You're setting a good example for everybody. Everyone wants to know how you're so cool and you know what's going on, okay? First, you start off by killing them with kindness, everybody. Courtesy is your main tool. What does it say about career on Queen of Cups? There are mentors within the workplace that can create a supportive atmosphere. You may be one of them. Oh my goodness, we just heard the same thing twice in a row. You need to be a leader at work. You need to step it up and lead by example. Let's go to Thursday. Wow, interesting. Oh, so everybody, the 9 of Pentacles says that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. And then by Thursday, the 10 of Wands suggests that you've got a lot of labor accomplished. So you're really going to see results and you're going to feel confident and ready to leap off again on Thursday. You're probably going to wish it was Monday because you're all ready to go. And let's see what it looks like on Friday. Just like this card over here says, the Hangman, we're looking at things differently, right? Wow. Look at that Friday. On Friday, we have the Magician and we have the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups talks about happy memories and nostalgia. And we even almost see a mentorship relationship there, right? Between the taller child and the smaller child. How about that? What an interesting story, everybody. Not only should you feel and look like the King of Pentacles when you go into work, but you should have the mindset that you can be a mentor and you can help. And look, all the while you're presenting yourself to your peers and colleagues and your customers and clients, meanwhile, your mind and spirit are fully satisfied as they focus on the things that you need to accomplish. And by Thursday, you're going to see results. And by Friday, you will have strength in your team. You will have shared, and that's going to feel good. And you would have created magic for everyone in the workplace. How about that? What a great message. So glad I turned on the camera. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm going to give these cards a toss and give those cards a toss. And then we'll get going with my presentation today and tarot for the audience. Thank you very much, Tarot World. I am enjoying the Ethereal Bloom Tarot Guidebook so far. I also want to show you this guidebook, which is right next to it. I may have shown this one before, I think. This one actually shows you the pictures of the cards and gives you a nice little slice of text to read about. All right. And I got to finish the 88 gemstone shuffle here. Wow, the Hangman. There's no coincidences with the tarot cards. Thank you very much, Tarot World. Whoa. All right. Got it. Yeah. All right. Happy 1st of February, everybody. As you just saw when I turned the camera up, I like to come into my meetings, my podcast with you with notes prepared so I don't lose my trains of thought. And if you're enjoying visiting StarCard Podcast, that might be like one of the things that interests you is how I string all these thoughts together. So anyway, the title said something about the war on consciousness. Oh, wait, hang on. I didn't use war this time. It was a different W word. It was win. So what I'm noticing, and I get a lot of feedback from people in the chat, and I want to thank everyone for their participation. It does help me become a better tarot card reader, okay? One of the things I'm noticing is that I'm good at timelines, or should I say, when I focus on a concept, the tarot world will present a timeline, which is easily discernible and people can figure out what's going on. So what I'd like to do today, we're at a very unique time in planet Earth's history, and there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of changes in technology, which is changing the way that we think. We could think about the year 2019, before this decade just began and all the wild, unusual, unexpected things that happened, okay? There's been a lot of changes in society, so much so that we can hardly keep track, I'm sure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my notes. I'm going to try to stick to my notes. But what I think we all know I'm going to say, because I've been repeating this over and over, is that, consciousness is your most valuable tool. Most of us don't even use it. I mean, if you have a garage, or if you can imagine a garage, I want you to imagine that you got your, let's just say, a parent's toolbox out in the garage, and you never use it because you're not a fix-it person. Usually someone else always does it for you. Well, that's where we're at right now. We got a toolbox, and we're not using it. And since we're not fixing anything, we're not making decisions about what we need to fix and how we want to improve things. I'm going to go to my notes now. And by the way, we'll get to tarot for the audience in I'm guessing about 20 minutes. So we're 20 minutes in now. And if you're tuning in to see tarot for the audience, just remember that when I turn the camera down, we're down on the table, we're throwing cards if people need to manage their time. All right. So, all right, here I go. So in the description, as I do most of the time, I've included a lot of notes, including links to the books that I have published, which are over my shoulder over here. I'm pointing right to that one, the Convoluted Autobiography. And then there's the other one, Let's Go Off Planet with Breakaway Ray. But in the Convoluted Autobiography, there's a chapter called Troubled Youth. Troubled Youth. That has a different connotation than the way I used it in the book. In the book, I presented my youthful appearance as the troubling issue. And very quickly, I'd like to share a story about how I interviewed for a job in a school district nearby. The school district was in Los Angeles County. And I wrote about this in the Convoluted Autobiography. I interviewed with a personnel director. I called him Mr. Salmon, S-A-L-M-O-N. There is a very famous baseball pitcher named Tim Salmon, so it's not unusual to have that name, okay? I did say that also in the book. But very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, the interview obviously did not pan out. I didn't get hired by that district. And upon reflection, I was only 22 at the time. I was only 22. I'm almost 3 times that age now. But I was only 22. And now that I look back on it, Mr. Salmon couldn't have behaved more illegally than he did. I was so discriminated against. He first of all, he thought it was a prank. I went in there with a 3-piece suit and a tie, and I had all my credentials in order. I had all the credentials. Everything was there, but I looked so young. He was reticent to take me seriously. He got up and he actually went to his secretary outside and asked, when when the real when the real candidate for the interview was going to come in, and was this some kind of joke? And she's all, no, that's the candidate. And then he came in and he said, what we'll do is we would like to let you volunteer at the high school, volunteer at all 4 high schools, and let's see how you like it. Now, at that point, I had already volunteered for a whole semester as a student teacher while I'm paying thousands of dollars going to night school. So I'm already fully credentialed. I don't need to volunteer anymore. So anyway, obviously that was not going to work out. You could read more about it in the book if you're interested. That was not going to work out. But now, of course, if you want to step back and you want to look at it from a 5D perspective, you want to look at Breakaway Ray's timeline in life, he was not supposed to work in that place. No wonder that person behaved so inappropriately. He probably didn't even realize just how way over on the spectrum he really was behaving at that time. Anyway, it didn't work out, right? I got a better job, didn't I? I got a better job. I sure did. And maybe I could upgrade that statement and say I had an experience tailor-made for myself. I learned a lot by being a teacher at the place where I worked. And I worked at that particular school for 31 years, 33 years in a different district. Okay, so I got that part out of the way. I had to mention my youthful appearance because when I first started, and I actually got hired. I got a job in the district. I was working with 5th graders. Those are 10 and 11-year-olds. And then eventually 5th and 6th graders. So we're moving up to age 12. So here I am. I'm about 23, 24 years old, and I'm working with students who are half my age. But I now want you to think about 7th grade, everybody. Think about a typical 7th grade boy, fresh complexion for sure, because the 7th grade boy is very young, but maybe he's got some peach fuzz growing, the hormones are kicking in, starting getting some facial hair. And, he's got like a lot of energy, because he's a kid or whatever. Well, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is when I went to school, when I went to work as the teacher, I had to start wearing ties for sure, just to distinguish myself from the children. It wasn't just so that the children would recognize me as a grown-up and an adult, but to let everyone else know that I'm not just another 6th grader. And that was a tough one to fight off. And as I mentioned in the book, in that chapter, which I look back on, and it's all very funny. People make such a big deal, and it becomes like an issue. Yeah, it's like discrimination against someone because he looks a certain way. And a lot of you are saying, yeah, that is funny, Breakaway Ray. That's a great thing to be discriminated against, because you're blessed with a youthful appearance. Good for you. Okay. I'm not making light of discrimination. I was discriminated in other ways that we're not getting into today, right? I'm going to stick to my notes. All right, moving on. Okay. So speaking of my students, right, the 5th and 6th graders, when I was a young man, 22, 23, 24 years old, and I looked very young then too. Okay. Why would those students show any respect to me besides the fact that their parents trained them correctly and brought them up correctly and showed them how to be respectful to adults and things like that? Well, they had to, obviously I'm the adult in the room and they understood that part. Obviously we had to build a rapport. Someone can be in a relationship with someone, with an authority figure and someone that's, an underling, as it were, like a teacher and a student. You can have a relationship like that. But if you're the student person and you don't have respect for the person, it's not going to be a growing relationship. You might be reticent to talk or participate or create. You might have an issue, until when you're a student, until you feel like, you are appreciated for who you are. If you don't feel that love that your parents share with you, okay, you're probably not going to identify or relate to that person. So obviously there's a lot of groundwork you have to do to work with students. As if you people didn't know, I'm sure there's many parents listening to me right now and even teachers. Okay. But then the other thing is I had to really do teaching. I had to show how things were done. And I just want to say, I'm grateful to all the students who not only learned and taught me in class throughout the years, but they gave me feedback right away when they said, what, you did a good job of explaining that. They may not have said it that way, but there's lots of times where I got feedback where they said, what, Mr. Breakaway, you made that clear. And now I can build upon that knowledge. Great. So now going to switch and go to summer school. Now, there are a lot of teachers out there, I'm going to make some general statements about teachers, general statements. I am sure that there are teachers out there who are passionate and they love to teach. And you know what? When summertime rolls around, they can't wait to teach summer school and sign up, not just for the money, just because they like being with the kids, they like teaching. I want to say good for those people. I don't really feel like that's a blanket statement that you could apply to most teachers. I think that most teachers, when they hit summertime, they would love to take a break because their job is really much, much more than other people perceive it to be. And they really do need that time to recharge and rest up and rejuvenate for the next school year. That's my take on it. And so I really do believe that there's teachers in summer school, and sometimes they're there just because they need the money. And they still like the kids, they still like the job, but if they had their druthers, they'd probably rather not be there. Well, anyway, we had summer school out in the district where I worked, and I've signed up for summer school before, but in this particular year, I was a substitute teacher for summer school. I was a substitute. Now, I was a substitute teacher. I'm probably in my 30s at this point. I'm doing some math here. Yeah, that makes sense. I was probably, if not just turning 30, I was in my early 30s. I'm a substitute summer school teacher. I'm wearing a tie. I'm dressed up all the way, okay, because it's not a video thing. I'm in the classroom with students, and I'm a substitute for a special education class. And it's a special education class, and there's a high school kid. I think this girl was like 9th, 10th, 11th grade, and she was there as an assistant. I'm not sure how the high school student benefited from being there. I mean, they got experience. I'm supposing they got some kind of high school credit for a career opportunity, and it goes on their transcript probably. So good for this kid. Now, it turns out the high school kid used to be in my class. She was in one of my first 2 years as a 5th grade teacher. And here she was, like a high school kid. I didn't recognize her. And her name was, she was going by Jenny. And I knew her as Jennifer. So anyway, she knew who I was. She recognized me. I know this because like 40 minutes after the class was into it, I'm all, hey, did you go to blank elementary? So yeah, hi, Mr. Breakaway. Oh, no, I didn't even recognize you. Anyway, so I just want to let you know that that character's in the room. I'm in the room, and I have maybe we'll say 12 to 16 special education students in 5th or 6th grade. So anyway, I'm looking at the lesson plans for the class. There's a story that we have to read, and the kids have to answer questions, okay? And so it's a reading lesson. I don't know the kids. So anyway, I'm looking at the lesson plans, and I do what I normally do. So is it time to read? Okay, so I'm going to start calling on students, and when they read out loud, it's going to help me know if they're following along, if they're understanding what they're reading, if they need help with some of the words, if the class in general has a question, okay? I want to know what's going on. I want to hear from my audience if I'm in the classroom. But anyway, I said, okay, so here we go, class. Let's turn to this page, open up your books. Everyone in the class open up their books, okay? I was sure I had everyone's attention. All the kids' eyes were on me. And then I asked the class, who would like to volunteer to read. And then one of the kids raised their hand and said, the teacher reads it to us. All right, so again, this is like the 1990s. This is before text-to-voice technology, where even you have a computer read things out loud for you, okay? That this stuff did not exist, okay? It's a different time. I'm teaching people how to read, okay? So anyway, student raises their hand and says, the teacher reads it to us. And I didn't understand that. I'm all, you mean the teacher has to, I said it in such a way that it made it sound like the kids couldn't do it. I'm all, you mean to tell me the teacher reads it to you because you guys can't do it? And then I thought to myself, and I was thinking about this before I turned on the camera, this teacher has reached a stalemate with her class. This teacher is a special ed teacher. I know she's qualified. I know she was dedicated. She left wonderful lesson plans. I know she cared about those kids. I know that they draft special ed teachers. They pressure them. And they say, we need to have a special ed teacher at summer school. Can you do it? So I know this lady was committed to her job. But from where I was coming, from the general ed population, I didn't get why a teacher would read a story to a bunch of kids like that. So anyway, I found out, I found out why. And that is because when the kids were like, yeah, I'll read. They raised their hand in their 5th and 6th grade, and they read, and they did the best they could, but they were doing the best that they could. And they need a little bit of help. So look, let's step back here. Let's let's look at it objectively. All right. You have a substitute teacher come in. He's got a different way of doing things because he doesn't know the routine. And then he's given the kids a chance to go ahead and read to read the words that they have to read and to participate more and to get engaged more. A lot of them felt, this is my chance to be a hero and to show everyone else what I can read out loud, to all the other kids in the class. So I was really happy about that and how that worked out for those kids. I was just there for that one day. Let me check my notes on this right now. Yeah. All right. So I'm glad I got to share that story. On to page 2. Page 2. Here we go. All right. So now, everybody, if you're tuning in to StarCard Podcast, hey, maybe you saw Tony Rodrigues yesterday on Typical Skeptic Podcast. I didn't put that that link in the description, but I encourage you to go see Tony Rodrigues' interview with Rob Khalil on the Typical Skeptic Podcast yesterday, January 31st, 2026. I enjoy Rob's show, obviously, but I have the best time when I see Tony Rodrigues' interviews. Guy's pretty sharp. So we're going to shift gears, everybody. If you're familiar with Psychic Liz Cross, she does these mind probes, and she has a master of ceremonies, some kind of other host who has some questions where the interviewer can fire the questions, pepper Psychic Liz Cross with questions, and then she can do her thing and explore thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Well, anyway, one of the hosts, I forget which one it was, he found himself following a train of thought, and he said, can you explore and find out who is the person with, the most mind control, the most blanked mind? And it turns out there's some scientist who goes to work and is working on stuff that is so top secret that every day he has to have his mind wiped before he leaves the office. So, he's got a regular job. He goes to work. But you ask him what he does, he has no idea, probably, right? That's not hard to do, everybody. It's not hard to do. We think it sounds like science fiction. It's going on all the time. All right. So when I first started, I had the wrong train of thought there. When I first published my book, The Convoluted Autobiography, and I was appearing on Typical Skeptic Podcast with Rob Khalil, I bumped into an associate of my brother's who told me the story about how she knows there's this scientist guy, and he's like making money hand over fist. He's got a great place, something everybody aspires to, and he's doing imports and exports. He's working with metals or whatever. But then the weird thing is he can't maintain a relationship because he goes missing for days and weeks at a time, and he has no idea what happened. So this is a different style. Who knows if the story is true, right? This is all for entertainment purposes only. Right now, I'm sure people listening to this are saying, yeah, I know somebody, blah, 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 and I've been there myself. So anyway, let me finish my story. This guy can't maintain a relationship with anyone because he can't keep a connection, because when he goes missing, nobody knows where he is or whatever. But this is a different style. He's not going in systematically. He's got a system, but it's not the daily ritual thing. There's conspicuous absences. That's not something that we normally hear with secret space program experiencers. If there's missing time, it's like 5 seconds. They took me out for a couple hours and they dropped me right back in where I was before anyone noticed I was gone. All right. So that kind of stuff is going on all the time. That's for maybe another show. But the point is, consciousness is not hard to manipulate. People are doing it all the time. And when we sit in front of the TV and where our eyes are glued to it and we get into that theta wave trance, we're inviting ourselves to be programmed. No wonder so many of us feel like things are so incongruous. There's so much cognitive dissonance, between what I know, what I understand, what I feel, and these other things that, this is the way it's supposed to be, and these are the directions I'm supposed to follow. It doesn't match up, okay? Because that stuff that we get on the screens is not healthy. And I'm talking to grown-ups. I want to say congratulations to Australia. I guess they limited social media to minors. Way to go. I'm not saying it's too little too late at all. This is part of what this show is about. I'm encouraging all of us to get a hold of our thoughts, okay? Recognize what's going on in our brains. Capitalize on the powers that we have. Good to go back to my notes. Okay, I'm going to leave the light on for this part. I wrote down some good sentences here. Check it out. See if you agree with any of these things. Compartmentalizing and privatizing knowledge must be one of the oldest professions. I'd like to reread that because there seems to be so much of it. And it seems obvious, right? If we just take a look at things in a slightly different way. Compartmentalizing and privatizing knowledge must be one of the oldest of the professions, okay? Here are some things that are missing. By the way, you could go to the description, and if you look up the video with Dan Willis at the Cosmic Brilliance podcast, he gives a great presentation on missing technology. But here are some short notes for you, everybody, okay? History, we really don't know it. It's being changed all the time, and we can't even keep up with it. Why don't you think of the book 1984 by George Orwell? The main character, Winston, that's all he did was rewrite history instantly as it happened. Okay, that was very prescient, Mr. Orwell. Well done. Okay, how about sound and frequency? That is like such a major, amazing, important thing, and we just don't study it at all. It's not part of our science. Okay, in fact, they try to hide it. You know, they took out all the pipe organs that were in all those old world buildings. They don't want us to use frequency to maintain good health, for example. Okay, how about free energy? You know, there's so many different versions of free energy, and there's perpetual motion. That's not hard to do. Okay, and so now putting my money where my mouth is. Okay, hey everybody, off-world, according to John Whitberg and his book, The Man with Periwinkle Eyes. I'm on volume 4. Volume 5 is going to come out soon, I think. I just saw a John Whitberg interview with Jane Celia Hatch. Hey, I'm doing the best I can, everybody. So John Whitberg says that off-planet, there are grapefruit-sized plasma-powered devices to power your home. Energy is a human right, okay? Even if you're poor or a slave, you still get one of these, because if you have one of these, you have power. And if you have power, for one, you can power your food replicator. So everybody gets one of these, okay? Why are we paying so much for electricity and energy? You can ask that question. We can answer it some other time. Okay. All right, free energy, perpetual motion, how to heal the body. Besides the medicines and plants and in our diet, okay, there's other tools, which I shall not explore right now. I'm sure lots of you have seen podcasts on that stuff. All right. And then it also makes me think, you know, when I go to the supermarket, I go up and down all the aisles, and I swear there's like nothing I can eat there. I mean, I know there's the produce section. I really do. Who wouldn't want to start their own victory garden? Who wouldn't want to? Okay. Can everybody do it? Does everyone have the resources and the time? Does anyone have the space? That's hard to figure out unless you're going to go vertical. Check out vertical, what would you call it? Vertical horticulture, vertical garden growing. Okay, check it out, everybody. It's out there in case you haven't seen it. It's a way to save time and produce your own food. You know, that's another thing that John Whitberg says, that off planet, everybody has like something going on. Even if you got an apartment, you got a balcony, and you're growing stuff, because you know what? If things shut down, you need to provide for yourself. Saving for a rainy day. All right, what else is hidden from us? Oh, anything spiritual. Anything spiritual is like, you know, they poo-poo it and they pretend it's imagination and it's not important and it's not real. Anything spiritual, hidden from us. Meanwhile, all right, and nature in general, Mother Earth, we are, how many different ways can I say it? The real nature of everything all around us is not presented to us. We get a twisted version, a twisted, limited version. And finally, of course, consciousness, something that I'm exploring today. So here I go. I got another sentence I wanted to share here. Yeah, here we go. Maybe other people feel like they would draw ire and negative attention but I'm not scared to say it because I've spent 4 decades in education and working with children, and I'm seeing a consistent dumbing down, and it has not stopped. I think it's escalating exponentially like that proverbial snowball rolling down the hill, because now we have artificial intelligence. And I know that a lot of people and adults and well-educated people, knowledgeable people know how to use artificial intelligence productively, okay? Because they're not substituting artificial intelligence for doing their own work. And nowadays we have people, maybe even young people, who could start off with artificial intelligence and then they never have to learn how to do certain things. They never have to learn how to write a story. They can have their artificial intelligence do it for them. They never have to do really thought-challenging math work because artificial intelligence can do that for them. And you know what else? Just like anything else, all these things are going to be privatized and separated from us. I'm thinking about the way calculators changed everything. In the 1970s, calculators first came out, 1980s. And, we wouldn't, when I started teaching in the 1990s, we wouldn't let the kids use calculators except for like a couple of days a year. But anyway, once calculators came out, we didn't have to do math anymore. I'm telling you, nobody knows how to do math the way they used to. I'm telling you, nobody reads books the way they used to. You know what? You're not reading books. Should I take the second person pronoun out? If one is not reading books, you are not opening your minds up to other minds. Screen surfing, web surfing doesn't count. Okay. You're allowing yourself to be fed. Okay. You're not reading words, putting them together and making meaning for yourself. All right. So let me see what else I got here. Yeah, I'm all about, we got to fortify the mind and spirit. I'm making sure I got everything covered. Okay. And I'm going to go way upstairs, as it were. I'm going to say this part. We need to recognize that our civilization, what did I write? Our civilization starts with the individual. What place does the individual have in society? You want to go all the way back to Plato? Okay, great. I'm Plato, Plato, right? The individual's place in society. You can study sociology. There's so many books out there. But right now, it's really important. It's very urgent that we all recognize where we are right now in this moment, because this moment is unlike any of the ones that came before it. Where is your mind right now? You have an individual mind, and you have a mind that's connected to everyone else's mind. And you have a mind that can connect to the Akashic record and to the things that are cosmic. You can have a telepathic conversation with people on another planet. You could have a telepathic conversation with one of your other lives. You are an electromagnetic being, okay? You are inhabiting this body. This is not the only body you got. You know what I'm talking about. If you've had some fancy dreams, leaving those subjects aside for a moment, have I got everything figured out here? Let me see if I've covered everything. Yeah. So here at StarCard Podcast, we examine our society by reflecting it off of what's going on in the breakaways. I tell you what I know about what's going on in the breakaways. We compare with what we got down here, okay? And that's going to help us integrate with the breakaways. That's enough of us pretending like there's nobody else in the universe. That, as John Whitberg says, life is the exception here on Earth. We're supposed to think, no, life is the rule. Life abounds throughout the cosmos, and we can get in touch with it. It's not hard. We need to do it in a responsible way. Unfortunately, we all have to do it in a black market style on the internet because we're not getting it through our institutions that our tax money pays for. Wow, that's a lot of blabbing. Let me see. Am I done now? I think I am. So what I want to do, everybody, as I mentioned earlier, I want to throw the tarot cards and invite the tarot world to show us a timeline where consciousness wins, right? Each of us individually gets a hold of our consciousness. We start using it to our advantage and to float everyone's boat. And we create a new world every day, little by little. We keep that chariot going. So I'm inviting the tarot world to give us some tips or give us a timeline that shows us something we could focus on where the power of our mind supersedes everything else. Because human beings really are, all of us, each of us, superheroes And there's some other species out there in the cosmos, and they're like intimidated by us. They don't want to wake the sleeping dragon. Yeah. Hey, everybody, let's wake up. All right. I'm going to go Ethereal Bloom here. Here we go. Right after this, everybody, we're going to go for tarot for the audience. Thanks for tuning in. Wow, did I go longer than I expected? All right. Here we go. Well, Tarot World, I covered a lot of subjects. I know you helped me plan my ideas and the conversation I had with our viewers today. Could you please show us a timeline in which consciousness wins? We don't want to see the sound of silence timeline where everyone forgets how to talk because everyone listens to some AI that dominates them. We want to see the one where humans and artificial intelligences exist symbiotically as compadres, improving our own civilization and the civilizations around us, because there's so much for us out there. Okay, well, this is for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Here we go. The devil card shows up. The devil card says you got to let something go. The shadow self is involved. We're going to have to let something go. The King of Pentacles. Yo, we were just talking about this guy before. He's slender looking Santa, big heavy crown there. He's got lots of pentacles. He's checking out that one. I would like to read about the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, leadership, prosperity, wealth. The king's robe is embroidered with grapevines, symbolizing financial abundance. His left hand rests on a pentacle, while his right holds a scepter. His throne is decorated with bulls. The king is you or a person in your life who develops a plan and leads the charge in projects. Thoughtful and methodical, his success brings wealth to himself and those around him. The Nine of Swords. That's the sleepless night lady. There's some anxiety involved. Yes, does someone feel unsure about something? Well, the Eight of Swords encourages us to use our imagination. And the Eight of Swords has my little catchphrase, as much as you can imagine. And the sentence closes, how lovely, with the Two of Cups, which is my message to me. You know, how I read the card is, this is a spirit world message. This is like a text or a tweet right from the spirit world for us, because look, it shows up at the end of the sentence. All right, so we got to let something go in order for us to be the leaders, because we're going to have to be the leaders. We're the ones who know what's going on off planet. Not everyone does. Now, that's going to create a problem, probably. Not everybody digs hearing messages that undermine our sense of reality. So let's turn this upside down so that we remember what our goal is. As much as possible, the spirit world is trying to reach all of us. Maybe that's why you're tuning in to StarCard Podcast. You believe in the spirit world. You believe you're receiving messages. You believe that there is more for us than what we got going on right now. Nice. Wow. More magic, everybody. We got the Justice card. Does that feel righteous to you? How about a Page of Pentacles, an announcement of a new project? So consciousness wins when we let go and we realize and recognize that we are leaders first of ourselves and then of those around us. We could put everyone at ease with our strong connection to the spirit world. That's the right thing to do. And let's read about the Page of Pentacles to close this thought. King of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, that's money. There's a lot of off-world wealth, let me tell you. The Page of Pentacles, financial opportunities and planning. You may be at the start of a new job or venture to generate additional income. Take advantage of the opportunity by creating a plan with decisive action. Create a plan with decisive action. Learn how to do remote viewing. Meditate. Discover your spirit guides. Discover your higher self. Take out a notebook and a pen and start writing. Use your mind. Use your brain. Learn something new. Crosswords are cool. Up the ante a little bit. Take a class. You got to use your mind if you want to win with it. You're not going to win any lacrosse matches if you're going to leave your wicker stick on the bench. Okay, thank you very much, Tarot World. I appreciate you elaborating on that theme today. I hope that was fun for everyone to enjoy. All right, let me give these a toss and let's say hi to all the people in the chat. We're going to see if there's anyone who wants a reading. All right, thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm going to go up. I'm going to say hi to people, and then I'm going to find your name tags and offer you some tarot readings if you want one. If you don't want one, it's okay. And so here I go. Let's see. Hello, Namira. Good to see you, Namira. Thanks for joining me. Let's see. LMAABB. Good to double see you. Thanks for joining us again. Salama. Hello, Salama. Good to see you. I'm counting 3 continents so far, everybody. Hello, Art Life. All right, so Australia, Africa, Europe, over here, North America. Wow, that's amazing. Hey, Art Life, thanks for joining us. Lisa Talcott's here. Hi, Lisa. Hey, Jason, Missing Time 420. Thanks for joining me. Rob. Rob is here. Right on, Rob. Glad you could make it. That was an awesome show with Tony Rodrigues yesterday. Thank you. Thanks, Rob, and thanks to Tony. Let's see. All right, so now let's see who's got some. I don't see. Oh, I see Namira would like a reading. Let me see what I got going here. Yeah, you know I just had him here, and now I got to find him. There we go. Yeah, so some of you already have name tags, so I'm going to pull those out right now. Lisa, your snowman's still alive. He hasn't melted yet. It's still winter. Namira, your schoolhouse. Rob K, Typical Skeptic Podcast. Art Life. Missing Time 420. Okay. Now, I don't know if all those people actually want a reading. And I'm going to double check, right? I read the chat after the show, but I'm going to scan real quick and see if, oh, and Salama needs a new one. Hang on, everybody. Salama needs a new one. Oh, yeah, I got some. Okay, Salama. Let's see if I missed anybody. Namira, that's good news about your granddaughter. Congratulations to you and your family. May that child have a blessed life. All right, welcome, little girl. All right, so I got Elam and Salama for February. Got it. All right, Jason, I think I see your message. Hey, God's Flow is here. Hi, God's Flow. You know what? I'm going to make one for God's Flow now. I want to say, yeah, today's probably a good day to get a reading, right? We saw the magic with the tarot cards. All right. You know, I see Ariel here. I'm going to write down Ariel's name. I'm doing my best to keep up with everybody. All right. Well, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and throw cards for the people whose name tags I have here. And we'll do the best we can. It's all for entertainment purposes only. I'm glad we're all having fun today. Thanks for joining me. All right. Let me get organized down here. I'm going to go with God's Flow first, and then Namira, and then we'll get to Salama and Jason, who had special requests. So let's start with God's Flow first. All right, God's Flow is already in a good mood. That's awesome, God's Flow. Let's throw Robin Wood. Did I not have one? Did I miss Ellum? I got to make a Valentine for Ellum. Hey, thanks for the help. We'll try again. I mean, I know Ellum knows I had at least one for her before. I got to make a new one. No problem. Here we go. Got it. Thanks for the help, everybody. Nothing went to waste. I got to use all these fun little cutouts. All right, but this is for God's Flow. Whoops. This message is for God's Flow. Thanks for tuning in, God's Flow. How about a fun, inspirational message for God's Flow? All right. These cards for God's Flow. Thank you, Tarot World. The audience loves you, Tarot World. Whoa, did you see that? That card popped out. Let's put that over there. Whoa. All right, God's Flow. Here comes your message. All right. God's Flow. You have the Page of Swords, new ways of communicating. Justice, which indicates the law. It also indicates balance and cause and effect. The Seven of Swords indicates that something could be hidden and should be revealed. Wow. The Seven of Wands talks about overcoming challenges, even if you feel like you're the underdog. Wow. And you close with the Queen of Pentacles, the working parent. Now, I don't think God's Flow has a podcast, but I'm going to go ahead and use the podcast as an example. As an example, the person getting this reading, you have a new way of communicating. It's the right thing to do. You might even have to reveal something that doesn't want to be revealed. And when you do that, sometimes not everyone wants to hear it. And it can be challenging. But what completes the whole adventure is that you're the Queen of Pentacles. You are the working parent. You're practical and you're taking care of everybody. You know, mom doesn't give us permission for everything, but there's a reason why mom knows better. Okay. Mom knows better. She's trying to help us. Wow. And then we close with the Devil card and the Six of Pentacles. The Devil card indicates the shadow self and talks about letting something go. And guess what? Whatever this is that you let go, all of a sudden, the Six of Pentacles says there's going to be the giving and receiving, an exchange, a cycle of giving and receiving. There could even be charity involved. This story could involve charity. You know, you're letting something go and you're being charitable about it. You know, you're being the bigger person. Okay. You realize that maybe you're arguing with someone who's not as experienced as you are. And so it's okay because you're still the Queen of Pentacles. You know, the kid went to his or her room and closed the door really loudly, right? Okay. It's all right. It's okay. You did the right thing. Thanks, God's Flow. So the one I just used was the Robin Wood deck. I think someone, yeah, this is the Robin Wood deck. Robin Wood. Okay. And this one is the Ethereal Bloom. So someone had a question about this. Now, the Ethereal Bloom is the one that I'm kind of partial to. I like the imagery. But this Robin Wood deck is the one that Matthew Mornian, my tarot card teacher, encouraged us all to start with. So this is true classic tarot right here. All right. Thank you for helping out there, Lisa. I appreciate it. And God's Flow, that's going to be a great visit from that family member. I hope you have a good time. All right, next up, LMAABB. You had a message at the top of the chat. Let me go check it out again. Okay, you asked for an emotional message from the universe. Emotional. Well, in that case, I'm going Ethereal Bloom. All right, Tarot World. LMAABB is requesting an emotional message. 7 of Cups, lots of opportunities. An emotional message, please. LMAABB, an emotional message, please. That card popped out for you. These cards are for LMAABB. All right, LMAABB. So you already have the Hangman, who's encouraging us to look at things in a different way. Let's see how the rest of the cards play out. The 8 of Swords. As much as you can imagine, 4 of Swords, relax and meditate. Think about it. Look at things differently. The Magician, making magic happen. The Knight of Wands, by going forward energetically. Dude, I love that card. I love that explosion at the horse's hooves. That is so cool. And the Ace of Wands. Yay. You're making the magic happen by taking action. Okay. Well, how about that? After a rest period, have a good long rest, meditate, contemplate that situation, because when you are ready to make your magic happen, it's going to happen. How about this? No, that's good. And then let's see what wow. You're watching Star Card Podcast. And the Star Card talks about rejuvenation. So look at things differently. Consider an upgrade, a rejuvenation. I'm playing here and I'm being funny here, but like a facelift. Okay. I would never advise anything like that. Anyway, let's read about the Hangman. No, sorry, is it the Hangman? No, let's read about the Star. Sounds like a nice card. The Star Card. Hope, renewal, faith. Under the glow of the stars, a woman kneels at the edge of a pond with one foot in the water. Her left hand pours water onto land to feed the earth, while her right pours water into the pond. You may have recently gone through a tough time, but the star is here to inspire hope. Renew your energy, heal, and have faith in the future. Wow, what an incredible reading, Ellen. You were encouraged as much as possible to rest and rejuvenate at the beginnings of both of these sentences. And look at how magically powerful you are. Way to go, LMAAWB. Thanks for inviting me to read. I appreciate it so much. I got to scroll back down in the chat. You're welcome, LMAAWB. Thank you. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you, LMAAWB. All right. Namira, celebrating a new member of the family. Let's go back to Ethereal Bloom. Finally, that little Ace of Cups arrived, huh? I think the term for young lady in Dutch is meisje, right? Meisje, ik ben niks voor jou. Meisje, niks voor jou. That's from the band Dolmar. How about that? Breakaway Ray knows Dutch ska music from the 1980s. All right. These cards are for Namira. By the way, where is Flixlove when I'm singing songs in Dutch? Yeah, right on, Namira. But these cards are for Namira. You know, Jason 420, there's another song by Domar that you would like. It's called Nederweed, Nederweid, and it talks about the kind of marijuana you can get in Holland. Nederweed. Okay, so anyway, these cards are for Namira. First up, the Ace of Pentacles. Let's read about the Ace of Pentacles. Whoa, hang on, everybody. I've just lost my... Oh, are you still there, everybody? Hang on. I lost my screen. Give me a minute. There we go. Got it. And I just saw Jason's message. All right. Anyway, Ace of Pentacles for Namira. Ace of Pentacles, opportunities and manifestation. An outstretched hand appears from the clouds, presenting a pentacle. Below it is a lush green garden with a path that leads to the mountains. Opportunity will soon arrive for you to increase your material wealth or health. Through driven actions, you can use it to manifest your goals. You're going to get the ingredients to make a delicious cake. And the Page of Swords says it's going to be like a surprise message. It's a new way of communicating. You were never expecting to hear this kind of news about a financial opportunity in this particular way. The Knight of Cups says it's going to feel like the knight in shining armor, here to deliver something that you were always hoping for. The Ace of Swords talks about truth. Wow, it's going to be very soul-aligned, I suspect. Let's read about the Ace of Swords. And I just happened to see Rob's message in the chat. No, Rob, I have not tossed your card yet, but I will have your schoolhouse there when I get there. All right, but let's read about the Ace of Swords for Namira. The Ace of Swords, new ideas, vision, breakthrough. A hand holding a double-edged sword emerges from the clouds. The sword is adorned with a crown and a wreath, symbolizing empowerment, truth, and victory. This card signifies a breakthrough of ideas and having the mental clarity to carry them out. Oh, is that the way it is? Look at you, Demir. You got two aces going here. Someone's going to present an opportunity and you're going to know exactly what to do. How about a Knight of Pentacles while you're at it? So your knight in shining armor is there, delivering a great opportunity. And the Knight of Pentacles says this is something that you can work on and cultivate. Okay, you're the best person for the job. Closing the mirror's message, the 10 of Swords and the 6 of Pentacles. We saw the 6 of Pentacles here just a moment ago in the same position. Hey, Namira, the hard times are over, says the 10 of Swords. And the 6 of Pentacles says there's all kinds of giving and receiving going on now. Lots of energy exchange. Good luck, Namira. Thanks again for inviting me to read. I'm so glad you could join us. Yeah, I know. Another surprise. How about that, Namira? All right. Next up, Salama. All right, Salama, I'm going to pull out the cards with all the words to get as much information as I can. I saw your message. I know the tarot world knows. Salama, I invite you to send me an email. I'd love to give you a complimentary private tarot card reading if you feel like I can help. In the meantime, I'm going to do the best I can. We're going to send Salama a fun, inspirational message. Something to inspire her so that she can find that job that it's obviously being set aside for her. Where is that job? These cards are for Salama. All right, Tarot World, something helpful for Salama, please. Here we go. The 4 of Swords shows up again. It talks about meditation and rejuvenation. Let's see what it says here. Rest, relaxation, meditation, contemplation, recuperation, retreat, and renewal. You may remember, Salama, that a couple of days ago, I introduced everyone to Margot Elise Miller. And I'll just share her message. It's a message that I keep telling myself. And that is, we're like in a forced, I'm turning it to myself. I would love to have a job for sure. I would love to have a job. I'd love to have an income. That'd be so awesome. And it's probably even more important for you than it is for me. Nevertheless, this whole period where it's like forced not working, that's like supposed to like clear the table so that we can bring out the next course. Here we go. The 9 of Pentacles talks about the fruits of your labor. All your ducks are lined up in a row. Maybe this is a timeline. Yay. The 4 of Pentacles probably sounds very familiar to you. It's talking about holding on to what's valuable, prizing what shines. Let's read about the 4 of Pentacles: saving money, security, conservation, frugality, pinching pennies. The 9 of Wands talks about gearing up for a last stand. Let's read about the 9 of Wands. Courage, persistence, test of faith, resilience, boundaries, a last stand, gearing up for the worst, pessimism, and worrying. I'm sure that we're worried about finances. Sure. And here's the 2 of Cups telling us that here comes a message from the spirit world. Like, we understand your situation. You're in a pause. You have all these wonderful skills and talents. You need to put them to work. But in the meantime, you're pinching pennies and you're holding on. So what do you got to say, spirit world? Send us some positive message about employment, please. How about 2 10s? You got the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Pentacles says wealth, financial security, long-term success, and contribution. Financial security. We were thinking of insecurity, but we turned it upside down, and instead of 4 pentacles, we realized we have 10 pentacles. And then the 10 of Cups is the dream come true card. I really feel like there's like a miracle on the horizon here. And when you look at this card, the kids are dancing. The parents are so happy. There's like music in the air here. Okay. It's a dream come true card. 10 of Cups, divine love, harmony, blissful relationships, alignment, inner happiness, fulfillment, dreams come true, family contentment, total love and support. You know, I've never known the tarot cards to be facetious or sarcastic. And I know that this story could seem really far-fetched from someone's perspective. And I feel like these sets of cards could apply to me too, Salama. Anyway, the point is, keep your eye out for the 10 of Cups, because the universe recognizes it and it's letting you know that it's on the way. Obviously, again, I'm repeating something that I think I know, which is put yourself in a position where you're constantly making decisions, because that's going to force you to follow your instinct, which is going to line you up, make you align to what you're doing. And also, I say aim high. We talked about the Peter principle. There's probably some people in positions that you never thought that you could apply for, and you're probably just the right person to do it now. Let's not forget also, among your talents, that you're polylingual. And, with the internet and the way that we can communicate around the world, and with auto dubbing right on the horizon, there may be a way for you to help a lot of people. Anyway, Salama, thanks for inviting me to read. Obviously, we all wish you a lot of luck. We all see the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups coming at you. Okay? Good luck. Thank you very much, Salama. I appreciate you inviting me to read. Well, I see that Danny is here. Hello, Danny Hawk. I think I'm going to make you a Valentine heart, Danny. And I know that Danny was also in the chat yesterday at Rob's show. All right, so let's get the other hearts out. Where did I put them? There they are. Hey, good morning, Danny. All right. Thanks for joining me. All right, I'm going to put you in the pile there, Danny. We've got quite a few readings today. We're all having a good time. Jason, it looks like you're up next. So Jason had I guess he was trying to formulate a question. Let me see what's going on. Let me go back through the chat, everybody. So, Jason, I know that the nighttime activities, and oh yeah, something to do. What am I supposed to do in the astral? Great. Hey, Jason. I'm sharing this idea with you because this is something I can share with everybody. I was meeting with Psychic Liz Cross, and she was talking about, well, I asked her, what do I do when I go to sleep at night? Where do I travel in the astral? And one of the things she told me was that I go to museums. And there's no doubt about it, Psychic Liz Cross didn't know, I love museums. So anyway, that doesn't surprise me. And then another thing I asked a different psychic, that would be Diet, the reincarnated mystic. She said that at night, I'm learning, I go to learn, I go take a class. And it turns out it had nothing to do with my teaching career. It had, this was years ago. Turns out what I was studying then was actually helping me kind of like what I'm doing now. What a surprise. So I suspect, Jason, what I'm trying to say is, what do I do during the astral? I think you already know what you do during the astral. I think you're doing it. And maybe we just want to get in touch and find out what it is we are doing. I think that you would be surprised to find out that it's exactly what you would want to do. They say that when even Tony Rodrigues said this yesterday on Rob's show, when you go to sleep at night and you enter that theta state and that hypnagogic state, that's a great time to like program your brain and let your brain know what you want it to do while you're sleeping. All right, let's go downstairs and throw you some cards. I'm not sure which deck you asked for. I'm going to go to a classic deck, though. Oh, Night at the Museum. Sure, that was a good movie. Right on. All right, so let's throw you some cards. Wow, everybody. So I'm looking up at my YouTube statistics, and it tells me how many people are tuning in and how many likes I got. And it looks like I got the same number. It's a complete fraction. The numerator and the denominator are the same. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate that support. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. All right. Hey, how about some fun inspirational cards for Missing Time 420? My insomniac brother from another mother. How about some fun inspirational cards for Jason, please? Oh, that guy really wanted to come out. Here we go, Jason. I would say, I would tease myself and say, hey, you want to go to sleep at night? Turn on StarCard Podcast. I'm teasing. Four of Pentacles shows up again. Prize what is shining. Prize what shines. The Knight of Swords. We're going to read about the Knight of Swords. Is this just like a repetition about what I just said about commanding your brain before you go to sleep? The Knight of Swords, impatience, assertive, ambition. A knight on a horse charges through forcefully and swiftly. It's as if only his objective is the only thing that matters. Sometimes we are so driven that we don't always consider the consequences. Don't give in to hasty, blind ambition. I'd like to read the career part for you, Jason. Harness the knight's energy of determination to achieve big things with your career. Don't hesitate to jump on the next opportunity if it feels right. What do I do at night before I go to bed? I consider what is the most valuable activity I want to be engaged in that evening in the astral, and then off I go. Look at him. I mean, he's even galloping through the clouds like a dream would. Wow. Then you're going to make magic happen with the Ace of Wands, Jason. Yay. The Queen of Swords says you were right. So it's telling you that you were right, Jason. You know, wherever you're galloping to, you were right. You made the magic happen. So it's not just like they're really talking about manifestation. I believe that that's something you're capable of. You can actually, go to sleep at night and then command your subconscious to bring these opportunities to you. You can connect with your spirit guides and invite them to bring opportunities to you in a certain area. Okay. And then all you got to do is look out for it. You know what you're doing. And then how about the Fool card says, then you can have a new adventure. Doesn't address the sleeplessness yet, except that you should know that you're making good use of your downtime. Look at that. You start a new adventure the next day. Whoa. The Queen of Swords just popped out. Here's the Queen of Swords. Again, from the other deck. You were right. Your higher self is right. Your higher self knows what's going on. And wow, great. I'm so glad that you invited me to read. Check this out, Missing Time 420. The Hierophant, the Learned Man, and the Ace of Cups, a brand new life. I believe that you are a powerful manifester, and maybe this is a timeline that tells us you're about to make magic like you never thought that you could make magic before. You're going to recognize how powerful you are. And let's read about the Ace of Cups. What a wonderful card. The Ace of Cups. Love, creativity, and relationships. A hand emerges from the clouds and offers a chalice overflowing with water. A descending dove places a wafer into the cup as an additional gift. The universe gives the gift of love. This can be through a relationship or self-love. The overflow of love can inspire creativity or new beginnings. If you were the only person who got selected to the all-star team from your team, wouldn't you suddenly be like a little extra motivated to play hard because you now know that everyone recognizes what a contribution you make? Okay, so go forward with that idea. You're the all-star. You can do things that other players on the team can't do. Okay, time to make the magic happen. Right on, Jason. Thanks for inviting me to read. Wow, this is incredible. I see we have another friend in the chat. Her name is Psychic Liz Cross. I'm going to have to pause here and say hi. This is a special day. I have Rob Khalil from the Typical Skeptic podcast here. I have Psychic Liz Cross also here. Hey, both of you have playlists at StarCard Podcast. And Psychic Liz Cross, I was speaking about you the other day. If you check my description, I finally figured out the payment button. I have a tip jar. I'm so glad that you could all join me. Apparently, I'm really in a groove. I'm throwing some good cards. And if Psychic Liz Cross wants me to throw some cards, that'd be awesome. I got some questions for Psychic Liz Cross, but she probably knows that. do you get messages from me when I'm walking around the house thinking about you? All right, let's go downstairs and go to the next contestant. Crazy. Crazy, wonderful. All right, next up, it's Ariel. And by the way, Rob Khalil, you're on deck. Okay, so Ariel, I'm not sure if you had a specific message, but I'm pretty sure the tarot world knows what you want to talk about. So let's throw you some cards, Ariel. What did I, is there someone else here? Yeah, Julie Anchorhaven's here. Hey, I got 3 famous podcasters. Unbelievable. Hang on, I got a schoolhouse for Julia, I think. Yeah, that's not it. One moment, everybody. I don't want to miss Julia. There you are, Julia. I'm going to throw you in the pile, Julia. Thanks for joining us. All right. So this is for Ariel. Ariel, I'm going to throw the 88 gemstones for you. Here we go. These cards are for Ariel. I'll find an inspirational message for Ariel, please. Thank you. These cards are for Ariel. A fun inspirational message for Ariel, please. Thank you. These cards are for Ariel. See, we're all having fun. This is like a sleepover when you were a kid. And you stay up all night talking and joking. All right. That's when insomnia is cool. All right, here we go. Ariel, the high priestess, is here to remind you to get in touch with your subconscious. The chariot is here. Apparently, you are trying to get in touch with your subconscious, and you're doing a good job. You're making progress. It's the King of Pentacles. How many times have we seen this guy today? You know, you're talking about the subconscious, your higher self, and converting that energy into like money in your pocket, money in your pocketbook. Let's read about the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, leadership, prosperity, and wealth. The king's robe is embroidered with grapevines, symbolizing financial abundance. His left hand rests on a pentacle, while his right hand holds a scepter. His throne is decorated with bulls. The king is you or a person in your life who develops a plan and leads the charge in projects. Thoughtful and methodical, his success brings wealth to himself and those around him. How about that? You're intuitively taking the right steps to basically throw a party for everybody. The Five of Pentacles, all right, this is an interesting card. The Five of Pentacles talks about abandonment and isolation, maybe even financial challenges. This is a card I like to turn upside down, where we overcome financial challenges. But let's see the last card here and see what's going on. The Seven of Pentacles. I'm trying to remember. Oh, the Seven of Pentacles is working hard at something and cultivating something, making something grow. Okay, you're developing your connection to the spirit world. You can convert it to money so that you could take the Five of Pentacles and turn it upside down. How about a side hustle? Throwing tarot cards like I do, right? You could develop a side hustle and you can cultivate that. So if that's the timeline that you follow, where will that take you? The Nine of Pentacles, ka-ching, fruits of your labor. Drop that pentacle in the basket. And the Page of Wands, that's talking about limitless potential. Wow. Ariel, what are you got a competition for me now? Go get them, Ariel. Go have a good time. You got the power. Make it happen. Sweet. Thanks for inviting me to read. So, Julia, I see your message. Do I have a PayPal? If you go to the description, there's 3 links there. 2 of the links are to my published books, and there's a 3rd link to Grace Magic Life, and that is my corporation, and it should lead you right to a payment link where you see a picture of me being doused by a cooler of green liquid and saying thank you. Yeah, right on, Arayo. Cool. Now, who's next? It's Julia's turn. Oh, no, wait. I told Rob he was on deck. Here you go, Rob. Here you go, Rob. And you know what, Rob? I know you mean business, so I'm going to take out the cards with all the words on them. Okay. Wow, you can't find it? I'm sorry to see that. I'm going to have to check this out. Jason says it's in the description. Hang on there, Psychic Liz Cross. Let me throw for Rob. There's Rob. And then we'll see if we can't get it sorted out before I turn things off. I still have like 4 or 5 more throws to do here. Okay. Hey, Rob, here we go. Rob, I really admire you. I just loved your interview with Tony Rodrigues yesterday. That was so well done. Thank you so much for having him on the show. Oh. Time out. It's hilarious, everybody. I'm sorry that the link in the description doesn't seem to be working. I put the link also at StarCard Podcast. Like if you go to the description at the channel, StarCard Podcast, I put a link in there. I mean, if you're really determined to donate, I invite you to open up another window and try clicking over there. Thanks for letting me know that my link didn't work. I'm not sure why that. I'm going to have to explore and find out why. Right? So anyway, if there's anyone who still wants to donate, would you like to try the one at the description at the StarCard Podcast channel, please? And thanks very much for your determination to support me. I really appreciate it. Let's go back downstairs. We're throwing Rob some cards. Oh, we have more podcasters. I'm so honored. We got Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot guys in the house. So that's Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, Psychic Liz Cross, Rob Khalil from the Typical Skeptic podcast, all 3 of them. Oh, and Julia Anchorhaven. She doesn't have a playlist. She just shows up in all my videos. Okay, we got 4 major podcasters in the house today. I'm so honored. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Hey, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, you tend not to ask for a reading, but if you want one, just let me know. So these cards are for Rob. Let me give him one more shuffle for Rob. My hero. What is he on? Show 2,400 something? Amazing. Think about that, Rob. The way I remember like months ago, I'm going to go upstairs for this part. I remember like months ago when they shut down your channel and how upsetting that was. And then you mentioned yesterday to Tony how you've like diversified. You have all these other platforms. It's like the spirit world guided you to diversify yourself so that, you know, you wouldn't be lost. So now we can catch Rob Khalil anywhere. Way to go, dude. All right, let's finish throwing your cards. These cards are for Rob. So I can mention this because Rob's in the chat, but I did mention to Rob that I'd like to come out on a show on Valentine's Day. I think it's a Friday. So I just want to let everyone know that's tentatively scheduled. You know, it's up to Rob's schedule, but I'm looking forward to it. All right, these cards are for Rob at the Typical Skeptic podcast. Here we go, Rob. The Knight of Pentacles. How many times have we seen this guy today? This is so, well, we got so many hard workers in our chat today. This is like a picture of Rob from his studio. Hard work, productivity, routine, conservation, efficiency, responsibility. he's not just cranking out 2,000 videos, 5 videos a day. He's being ethically responsible too. He's approaching it with journalist, how would you say, a journalist perspective where he's not taking sides, right? Well done. This is a great picture of Rob. Okay, Rob, we know the tarot world knows that this story is for you. The colors even match here, right? Here we go. The Tower card. This is what you, and I know Julia's doing the same thing. You're knocking down the barriers and the walls and the perspectives that we used to have. This is your mission in life. That's awesome. So let's read about the Tower card. Sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, disaster, awakening, release, and sudden insight. Let's focus on these words: revelation, awakening, sudden insight. Every time I turn on Typical Skeptic Podcast, revelation, awakening, sudden insight. The Three of Wands. It's hard to see off in the distance, but to expand, the Three of Wands says luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Maybe we don't see that opportunity coming when Rob gets invited off planet to go to the moon and interview people there. We don't see that yet. But when you put out 2,000 videos about it, who are they going to call first? Yeah, Rob, they're going to call you. The Six of Wands, public recognition. Bam. Oh. Five of Pentacles again? Come on, guys. So the Five of Pentacles talks about isolation and abandonment. But I would like to point out that these two people, even though they're physically challenged, financially challenged, they're outside, they have each other. And you know what? When you're on a desert island with some strangers, all of a sudden those strangers are your family. I like taking the Five of Pentacles and turning it upside down. The Five of Pentacles reversed. Recovery from financial loss. Improving the situation from spiritual poverty. Charity and improvement. Okay, so this sure seems like your story. I know you're probably focused more on the right side up of the Five of Pentacles, and that has to do with ka-ching and exchange and cash register sounds. But really, this is like a spiritual story. You're helping everyone overcome spiritual poverty. You agreed to it. You're helping everyone with their karma. Everyone's tuning into you, Rob. Everyone relies on you. You're in public. Everyone sees that you have the vision. Oh, you always get the Devil card, Rob. I can't get over that. So the Devil card talks about the shadow side, but this is what you reveal in your show. You're revealing the dark things that most of us don't know about and don't think about. And at your show, you prize what is bright. You prize what shines. You help us focus on the truth. That's what's important. So if there's any kind of message here, it's that, you really are working hard on your soul's path and you can see where to go. Everyone knows that you can see where to go. You're doing everyone a favor. And by, casting your light, shining your light, you cast a lot of shadows that we can recognize now so that we know how to prize what shines. Hey, Rob, it was an inspirational message. I hope it helps you. Thank you very much for visiting me today. This is so exciting. Here we go. Next contestant. It's Julia's turn. And then I have Art Life and Danny Hawk and Lisa Talcott. And if there's someone else who wants a reading, do let me know. Okay, so let's throw some cards for Julia. I don't know if Julia asked for a particular deck, so I'm going to go Ethereal Bloom. Hey, Rob, I appreciate your feedback. Thank you very much. All right, and these cards are for Julia. Hey, Julia, the Three of Wands also popped out for you. You are welcome, Rob. Thank you. Rob, you changed my life, man. You and Psychic Liz Cross, I wouldn't even be doing it if it wasn't for you two. I'm like, what? Start a podcast? These cards are for Julia. Thanks a lot, Julia, for making me part of your programs also. You really changed my life as well. These cards are for Julia. Here we go. So you got the Three of Wands, Julia, flopping out right when I asked the question. And the Three of Wands says, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Are you prepared? Yeah. So expect to get lucky. Here comes your story. Justice, cause and effect, the law, being on the correct side of the tracks. Julia, that's a funny message you just put in the chat. The Six of Wands, that's you, public recognition. Everyone sees you're doing the right thing. The Star Card, you tune into the Star Card podcast with Breakaway Ray. The Star Card talks about having faith, being rejuvenated, and rejuvenating others. Next up, the Eight of Cups. It's the walk away card. I hope this doesn't mean that you walk away from the Star Card. Sometimes you got to walk away from stuff. Wow, the Lover's card. So the Lover's card is another message, especially end of the sentence here. It's another message that says, the spirit world is not just here sending you a message, but is working with you hand in hand. You guys are like holding hands and strolling down the beach together, you and the spirit world. So, you're on the right path. Everyone recognizes it. You are inspiring people. You're showing people what we can walk away from and walk towards. And you're doing it in harmony with your spirit guides and your higher self. And look, you've got a great plan. You're expanding. And luck is where preparation meets opportunity. So here comes your lucky card, the Moon. Illusion, mystery, and the subconscious. Get ready to meet more altars. I don't know if you wanted to hear that. Get ready for more mystery, Julia. You're so mysterious, you high priestess, you. No tower card for you today. Have a good one, Julia. Thanks a lot for inviting me to read. All right. And now let's see who's next. Hey, Danny Hawk. All right. Let's throw some cards for you. I'm going to go 88 gemstones. Thank you, Danny, for tuning in. These cards are for Danny Hawk. Could we please have a fun, inspirational message for Danny Hawk? Thank you, Tarot World. These cards are for Danny. These cards are for Danny. Yay. Wow. So I'm going to take a quick time out here. I got my eyeball on the chat. I will reveal Danny's cards in a moment. So I'm going to read the chat later. I'm going to find out what the difficulty is with my payment link button. I don't know if anyone has tested the link over at the StarCard podcast description. Hey, everybody. I feel bad if you had a problem donating today. Hang around, check back with me in a week. Let's see if I get this thing sorted out. And I don't want anyone to worry. Everything is free here. And I appreciate the intent, right? It's the intent. It's the thought that counts. So I appreciate it so much. What I also wanted to say, this must be like a special day. I mean, it is. It's a special day for me. Today is my grandfather's birthday. My grandfather was born in 1907. He would have been 119. He only made it to 103. Okay. But obviously there's some kind of magic going on when all my friends with podcasts show up in the chat on my grandfather's birthday like this. So I want to say thanks very much. I really appreciate your support. And now I'm going to reveal Danny Hawk's story. Here we go. Oh, Judy is here. Judy, let me know if I can throw you a card. I'm on Danny for right now. Jason, thanks for that message. And Rob, thank you for yours. All right. See, I'm going to focus on Danny. The chat is getting too interesting. Here we go. First up, Danny, the Seven of Cups. Look at all the opportunities. You tune into so many podcasts. There's so many things to learn from. Got it, Judy. I saw your message. The Six of Pentacles. We saw this card a couple of times today. It's giving and receiving. It's charity. I feel like this is giving and receiving energy. You ask questions, you get information. You're keeping that currency of information and knowledge going. it's kind of like, you know, if the fire is about to die out, here comes Danny. She's got a question to fire everyone up again. The Eight of Pentacles talks about having a long-term view, working at something for a long time. No overnight successes. But when the success does come, it's going to be a huge, solid foundation, like a pyramid. The Two of Pentacles indicates multiple priorities, taking care of more than one thing at a time, showing you're balancing a lot of things, spinning a lot of plates. And the Three of Pentacles talks about teamwork, including teamwork with the spirit world. So, Danny, I'm just creating a story here, right? Out of what very little I know about you. You're checking out a lot of channels. You see a lot of exchange of information. You're using that information and you're building upon it, not just for yourself, but for others, because you're publicly participating. You're doing all this while you're, taking care of your regular life. There are people in your regular life, people that you can actually, and they're counting on you. But don't worry, the spirit world is working with you on this. So yeah, you really need to have a long-term view. You're not even done. You're like in the middle or just getting started with your pursuit of knowledge. The Eight of Cups talks about walking away. It's a walk away card again. And then there's the Emperor. Well, here at STARCARD Podcast, I would say you're walking away from knowledge that doesn't work anymore because you're taking control of your consciousness and what you understand and what you understand about the world around you with the help of the spirit world over here. Right on, Danny. I like the way it came out. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much. Okay, while I have a chance, before I get to Art Life and also to Lisa, I'm going to throw one card for Judy. Let's throw for, oh, that was Danny. Okay, I'm trying to concentrate. I got to tell you, that chat is a real distraction. I appreciate everyone's comments. I can't wait to read them after the show. But anyway, I'm going to throw one card for Judy, and then I have 2 more readings to go. Wow, this is a long show. Judy, how do you like the Knight of Pentacles? Let's read about it. The Knight of Pentacles, that's the hardworking person I always want on my staff. That guy does not give up. He'll make it work. Routine, steady progress. The Knight contemplates the pentacle in his hand. Next to the field, he has methodically plowed. Unlike the other knights, the horse he sits atop is still. You are executing your goals through a meticulous plan. It may take time and even seem mundane, but the repetition and routine will generate results. All right, Judy, right on. And now let's go to Art Life. Art Life. Hello, Tarot. Could we please have an inspirational message? Something fun for our friend Art Life, way down under. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Art. Hope you had a great Sunday, or you're going to have a good Sunday. I don't know. Is Australia still in the same year we're in? I get a little confused. Whoa. I'm teasing. I know about time zones. I used to teach my kids about the international dateline. My 5th grade teacher, when I was a 5th grade student, my 5th grade teacher said the international dateline was a good place to meet women from other countries. Yeah, he said that in the 1970s. All right. Mr. McNeil. I wrote about him in my book. Here we go, Art Life. These cards are for you. The Chariot. Keep it going. Keep on trucking. More 70s terms for you. The 10 of Cups. Yay, it's a dream come true. The 7 of Cups. Oh, there's so many opportunities. Wow. I know I always talk about this holiday. It is my birthday, but did you wake up on Christmas morning and now you unwrapped all these gifts? You have so many opportunities here. So many things to play with. Yay. The 10 of Pentacles. Divine happiness, domestic bliss. Let's read about the 10 of Pentacles. Way to go, Art. 10 of Pentacles. Long-term success, legacy, family. The older patriarch of a large estate sits with 2 loyal dogs at his feet. His children stand below an archway while his grandchild pets one of the dogs. After building financial wealth, you are now able to create a legacy or share it with your family. It could be the family you were born into or one you've created. Wonderful. What a blessing to be able to share your dream come true with other people. Then the Tower card shows up. Maybe no one expected you to give them what you gave them. No one expected you to provide for them the way you did. And so their whole impression of the way things were supposed to be was changed by the act of your grace, where you shared your dream come true and offered all these opportunities to them. That's the way I want to take the story. Let's see how this story ends. The Page of Swords and the Empress. Yeah. The Page of Swords indicates communication, a new form of communicating. And then the Empress, well, let's read about the Empress. Let's read about both of them. Let's get that message clear. First, the Page of Swords. Quick-witted, alert, and curious, a young man stands tall among the field. With his sword over his left shoulder, he is steadfast and ready to engage. This card represents thriving on new, exciting ideas. Staying curious and alert are integral to this. Swords suggest that ideas will flow in the form of verbal messages and communication. And the Empress indicates love, fertility, and creativity. The Empress rests in a rich forest surrounded by Mother Earth. The symbol of Venus sits at her side, showing her connection to love and fertility. Her crown of 12 stars represents the signs of the zodiac. Connect with your nurturing femininity and enjoy the beauty of life. You may also be experiencing a burst of creativity. Hey, Art. Lots of people in the spiritual community talk about balancing your masculine and feminine sides. And I want to say that maybe you're in that same boat. And now I'd like to quickly share a funny anecdote that I thought about a couple of days ago. When I was in the classroom, this thing I'm about to tell you would happen from time to time, and it would make me laugh, and I thought it was adorable. But sometimes I'd be helping a kid, like I call a student up to me that needed help with something, and they would say, "Mom, can you help me with this?" Yeah, they call me mom. Like whatever they felt for their mom, they felt the same way towards me. Anyway, I'm making a suggestion that, whatever beauty you're sharing with people, it feels very balanced, and you show a lot of depth. Anyway, I hope I got that right. I hope you enjoyed the reading. And now we're moving on to Lisa. Let's give these a toss. Hey, everybody. I think this is my last reading now. Are we really going to crack 2 hours? Unbelievable. All right. You were here when it happened, everybody. Lisa Talcott. We'll get rich with the Robin Wood deck here. These cards are for Lisa. All of Lisa's messages are fun and inspirational. I'm happy for Lisa. I know some people were talking about the payment link. All I can tell you is that it was tested by Kimberly Bamford, and she successfully donated. So again, I'm going to look into it after the show. I appreciate everyone's feedback and giving me a heads up. So let's get Lisa her fun, inspirational message. So Breakaway Ray can go take a nap. Here we go. Hey, Danny, thanks a lot for coming in. I appreciate it. I thank you for your message. Oh, that's right. Lisa, thanks for reminding me. Cue Sweet Georgia Brown, the theme to the Harlem Globetrotters, because this is Lisa Talcott. We do little musical chairs here. I'm thinking too much about this card. I'm going to put it at the end. Here we go. Let's go like that. I don't know what's up with that card. Here we go. The Three of Pentacles. Teamwork, collaborating with the spirit world, probably on some kind of long-term spirit plan, some kind of spiritual timeline, a life plan that you're only vaguely aware of. Wow. How many times have we seen this wonderful person, the Empress? Oh, that's so great. Nice picture of you there, Lisa. The Seven of Swords. Something is hidden. Somebody's getting away with something, huh? Wow. Check you out. It's the Queen of Pentacles. She's the responsible parent. Oh, my goodness. Didn't the same card show up in the same spot with, was it Jason? It's the Fool card, a new beginning. So you're working really hard at relationships blessed by the universe. And everything is going just great. But you know what? Here on Earth, there's always going to be something going on. And a couple of months ago, I made a joke about a kid coming home from college, and he was trying to hide the fact that he had a marijuana joint in his sock drawer. But of course, mom could smell it all the way downstairs. She went to college. She knows. Okay. The Queen of Pentacles is the responsible parent. What does a responsible parent do when they have to share their knowledge and be a firm but friendly and responsible adult and do some decent adulting? Right? You send that kid on a new adventure, point them in the right direction. Remember to have spontaneous optimism yourself as a parent, for example, or as someone setting an example, because it's a new adventure for you. Every time you shake hands with someone, it's a new adventure. You're beginning a new relationship. I know this card, huh? But anyway, let's see what this one says. You're totally in control. The Emperor card. And, oh, it's the Tower card. Do things look like they're falling apart? Don't worry. You got it under control. You've been working with the spirit world the whole time. You're a responsible parent. You're sitting pretty. Is someone trying to get away with something? Whatever. Turn it upside down. There we go. Have a good one. Well, I just saw a message from Judy. It said, did you hear that voice come through? It wasn't Ray. I can't wait to hear the recording. Is there somebody else in the room with me? I know, I think Woo Rider said that there was some kind of orb behind me in a podcast a week or so ago. I don't know what's going on. All I know is I had a great time. Thanks for joining me on my grandfather's birthday. I hope you all have a great week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and check out StarCard Podcast for the tip jar and for all the playlists of all the podcasts who showed up today in the chat. That was so awesome. Rock on, everybody. All right, have a good one. Yeah, this is the episode where Breakaway Ray sings Dutch ska music from the 1980s. See you later.